Our next section, I'm also excited to talk about this one. This is going to be our last segment for today, because again,
I'm tired, boss.
This was really cool. Unlike seeing Jimmy Kimmel, there was something I saw come out from I'll call it the mainstream media, this past week that did fill my cold, dead heart with joy.
Well, the Barbenheimer beef dominated Hollywood all year, but last night's Oscars saw a knockout blow in the cinematic tussle of our age. Oppenheimer sweeping the board, winning Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Picture, and others. Barbie, on the other hand, dying like a dog, winning only 1 gong from 8 nominations. The solitary win was Best Song for Billie Eilish's What Was I Made For, which you could have said about the movie itself, in my estimation. Unfortunately, Ryan Gosling, film's leading man, managed to show this wasn't even the best song in Barbie, with a barnstorming-like performance of I'm Just Ken. So did the dreaded patriarchy have the last laugh in this battle of the blockbusters? And is this the year that finally proves we've had enough, I like what they've done there, of woke Hollywood? Joining me to debate the biggest night in Hollywood is my Oscar super PAC, Esther Krakow and Ava Santina, and 2 titans of the YouTube movie community, the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic. Well, we are honoured to have you 2 gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. That's it for the Piersies. Thank you very much indeed. Great to have you guys on for the first time on Uncensored, Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, 2 hugely popular guys on YouTube, and I can see why. Thank you very much. And to Ava and Esther, thank you both very much. And a final thought, really, that Barbie got what it deserved last night.
Absolutely.
The man had the last laugh.
So if you're unfamiliar with who those 2 guys were that were brought on to Piers Morgan's show there, that is Gary from Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker from the Critical Drinker. These are 2, I don't want to call them YouTubers because they're on other platforms as well, but these are 2 online film reviewers, critics, commentators, and more. They have great shows. Again, they're on multiple platforms. So I'm not just going to say YouTube, but they're out there and they are doing an honest man's work. They're out there really giving some great reviews on stuff and really impacting the way that people go out and view TV and films now, as critics have for decades, if not centuries. Yeah, let's see. This isn't me shilling for them either. I just want to say I'm a fan. I've been watching these guys for years. I was on the live stream when Critical Drinker hit 1 million subscribers. I thought that was super cool and very deserving. The 2 of them specifically, and there's others, and I'll mention them in a minute, but the 2 of them specifically, the script writing that they do for their shows is just phenomenal. It's so on point. It doesn't have all these uhs in there, and any of this flubbering that I do. They're so easy to listen to. In fact, both of them have great voices. People often ask, who do you want to narrate the story of your life, Morgan Freeman or Samuel L. Jackson? And I'm trying to decide between the Critical Drinker or Gary at Nerdrotic. Either one of them would be great. I'm kind of leaning toward Critical Drinker. It's the accent, dude. It's the accent. But no, this is a round of applause for members of the mainstream media realizing that their platforms are shrinking and the online community is growing, and the commentators and the influencers that are out there. I know these guys probably don't want to be called influencers, but they are influencing people. That's where the audience is going. They're being outperformed by these guys on a regular basis. This is a nod to them for realizing that if they can't beat them, they should join them, or in this case, invite them on the show and get their commentary. While I am a huge fan of Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker, they're not alone in this phenomenon. Geeks and Gamers hosted Zack Snyder. The Cordring has hosted Gina Carano. The Critical Drinker has hosted Russell Crowe. And there's been plenty of others too that I could probably just keep going on and on about, and some I don't even know about. But watching these guys and get the recognition they deserve and the access that they have now is just absolutely phenomenal. As they've grown their audience, their influence, there's one more group that should be listening with bated breath, and that's the film industry. These guys should be listening to what these commentators have to say, because they truly have their finger on the pulse. When you start hearing them talk about films that are going to be successful, TV shows that are going to be successful, and ones that aren't, and the biggest element to that is the why. Why is this movie or TV show going to be successful, or why is this TV show or movie going to be unsuccessful? And I think the film industry would benefit greatly by listening to them, because they do represent a gigantic portion of the audience. Let's look at this article real quick. This is from, it's called Made in Shoreditch, I think is how you say it. The Evolution of Film Criticism, YouTube's Role in Shaping Opinions. Now, this is back from last year, but this was a really good read, and I thought it was relevant to seeing the guys on Piers Morgan. You can engage in film criticism by, and I'm going to read pretty much the whole thing, so bear with me on this one because there's not a whole lot to this segment, so we've got time. You can engage in film criticism by analyzing and evaluating films and television shows in written form. Film criticisms include comprehensive plot recaps, performance critiques, assessments of visual and oral aesthetics, character analysis, as well as commentary on the political and cultural context of the film, which is a huge one right now. And these guys have their finger on the pulse of all this political and cultural stuff that's getting pushed. Various individuals, such as film scholars, movie critics, and culture and entertainment journalists, contribute their criticisms to a wide array of publications, including scholarly journals, magazines, free weeklies, daily newspapers, online platforms, and industry trade publications. YouTube has largely influenced the evolution of the film industry and film criticism. Although it is not the only information sharing service, it is the most visual, popular, and one of the most well known. We will explore the role of YouTube in the development of film criticism. Background. Before the rise of blogging, mainstream media's film criticism revolved around a single purpose: advising readers, viewers, or listeners on whether to watch a recently released film. Such reviews provided a brief summary of the film and quickly discussed its strengths and weaknesses, and often concluded or began with a star rating. A newspaper reviewer typically had around 600 words to cover a recent film, while a broadcast critic might have a 5-minute segment at the start of an hour. This format has remained largely unchanged since its inception in the early 20th century. Frankie Woods, who started reviewing the films for the New York Dramatic Mirror in 1908, is widely regarded as America's first film critic. As the film industry became popular in the 1930s, newspapers began allocating more resources to cover it. Within a few decades, most newspapers had their own film critics or syndicated columns dedicated to film reviews. A reader interested in watching a new film would grab a newspaper, read the review, and then check the show times on the same page. However, this doesn't imply that the film criticism lacked depth before the internet. In addition to scholarly journals publishing extensive treatises? That one. On film theory, some magazines dedicate significant space to articles about movies. Entertainment Weekly, established in 1990, was embraced by an entire generation of film enthusiasts and had millions of readers. Critic Pauline Kael, writing for The New Yorker from 1968 to 1991, is widely respected for elevating film criticism as an art form. According to Roger Ebert, she had a profound positive impact on the film culture in America for over 3 decades. What is the role of YouTube in film criticism? In the early days of YouTube, film criticism on the platform often involved individuals staring at the camera and sharing their opinions on a film, occasionally interspersed with scenes from the movie. Chris Stuckman, a YouTuber with 1.1 million subscribers, is an example of this style of film critic. His reviews, which follow a plot summary plus opinion model, typically last less than 10 minutes. However, other more sophisticated formats have also emerged. In 2005, film editor Robert Rang created a fake trailer for Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, portraying the movie as a family comedy. As YouTube was founded the same year, the video went viral, leading to an explosion of recut movie trailers. However, the supercut, which splices together common tropes from a film or series of films, often prompts us to confront the cliches of filmmaking and explore the reasons behind their prevalence. Frankly speaking, there is one problem with YouTube: advertising. Film critics must continue to exist, but it interferes with viewing. Moreover, there are more and more advertisements. Do you want YouTube without ads? Just buy a premium, but that's not the only option. Some VPNs have YouTube ad block, which blocks any advertising, and not only on YouTube. With this tool, you can protect yourself from cyber attacks, watch YouTube TV freely outside the US, change your IP address, and even protect yourself from viruses. I feel like this is an ad placed in the middle of an article. YouTubers didn't invent the video essay. However, YouTube transformed it into a genre for mass consumption, an art form that gathered its own dedicated fandom. I can't exactly pinpoint where the evolution happened, but let me highlight some of the early practitioners who must have played a part in the transition. I won't go through all these. Jim Emerson, Matt Zoller Seitz, Tony Zhao, What is the purpose of film criticisms? Here we go. Film criticism serves various functions in an academic and commercial context. It informs you as a moviegoer about a film's content and perceived quality, helping you decide whether or not to buy tickets. Widely published criticisms reaches demographics within and beyond the film's intended audience. Film critics can become taste makers and establish themselves as cultural vanguards in the world of cinema. Additionally, film criticism creates a historical record of the film industry for future studies. So I'll stop right there and just say that's what these guys do. These guys, and there's others out there too, that go out here and just absolutely kill it. The folks I mentioned, have influenced thousands, if not millions, on what films, TVs, shows were worth our time. Time is a valuable thing. They've made their way into some of the groups within the inner circles of Hollywood and have started exposing some of the secret agendas that are out there, like we were talking about earlier, the political and social context of things. FilmThreat is another one that I would highly recommend that are actually made up of film critics. That's what they do. They actually hosted an Oscars watch party the other night, and I watched that instead of the Oscars themselves, and it was great because they were joined by Gary from Nerdrotic and several other people, and it was a wonderful, wonderful show. And they are very entertaining and very, very knowledgeable in the world of film criticism and film reviews and commentating and all that. Again, I'm not a shill, I'm just a fan. And not only that, it would be incredibly negligent for me to not mention the impact that these guys are having right now in the world of art, really. Film, TV, comics is another one they're big on. Games is another one they're big on. I don't follow the game stuff that much, so they kind of lose me on that. But I know they know what they're talking about, so I lean heavily on trusting them. To these guys, look, I say keep it up. You're doing great work. You're doing an amazing job educating, influencing, and even motivating others to jump on the game as well. And then to everyone else, if you are not already watching these guys, you should at least check them out. I will have direct links to all of them down in the show notes, description, or whatever below, to every one of the platforms that I can find that they're on, be it YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, whatever. If I found them on there, I'll put their links on there and go straight to their channels. Go check them out, watch a couple episodes and see what you think. But, it ain't easy going against the grain. And these guys do it on a regular basis. They do it on a daily basis, but they do it to benefit us and not the machine.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.